Welcome to Flights of Fancy Storytime. I'm Ann, and usually when the National Air and Space Museum is open, I tell stories in our museum galleries. We thought we'd bring some of our museum stories to you at home. Today's story is about a pilot named Bessie Coleman. Have you heard of her? This is a photo of her. I think she has a very pretty smile. Bessie was born in Texas over 100 years ago. Times were different then, but some things were the same. Bessie wanted to have adventures. Do you like adventures? At that time, airplanes were new, and flying them was the greatest adventure that Bessie could imagine. To learn to fly an airplane, you need to go to a special flying school. Bessie had a hard time finding a school where she could learn to fly. At that time, most flying schools in the United States would not accept women or people of color. That made it almost impossible for Bessie, who's both, to find training. How unfair! But Bessie was determined. She moved to Chicago and worked doing nails to make enough money to follow her dreams. Then her friend told her that there were flying schools in France that would take her. She saved her money, learned to speak French, and got ready. Then she got on a boat to go to France. Maybe the boat looked something like this one. There were very few airplanes or pilots then, so a boat was the way to go. She took flying lessons, and on the 15th of June, 1921, she got her pilot's license. Hooray! Can you find the date on the license? You can also see Bessie's signature. When you sign your name to a document, that makes it official. In her license photo, Bessie is wearing special clothes for flying. You can see the helmet and goggles on her head. Here's another photo where she's also wearing flying clothes. She's standing near a car and her airplane. They both look very different from cars and planes today. What differences do you notice between the car or plane from cars or planes that you have ridden in? She has on a warm coat and boots. Do you see that she's holding goggles in her hand? Do you ever wear goggles? Maybe for swimming or even skiing. They protect your eyes from the water or wind. Bessie flew a Curtiss JN-4D airplane, which is also called a Jenny. A Jenny is a biplane with two wings. One of the wings is above the fuselage or body of the airplane, and one is below. The Jenny is an open cockpit, which means Bessie's head was sticking right out of the airplane when she flew. That must have been windy and cold. That's why she wore goggles. We have a Jenny airplane in the National Air and Space Museum. Would you like to take a ride? Where would you sit in the airplane? The airplane has two seats, one in front of the other. You can control the airplane from either seat. You can decide where to go. Where should we go flying today? To the beach? To see a friend? Bessie was not just a pilot. She was a daredevil, barnstorming stunt pilot. She was known as Queen Bess because she was so amazing. She did lots of tricks with her airplane, like flying loops, barrel rolls, flying very low and then swooping up very fast, and even wing walking. That is when another pilot takes the controls and you walk right out onto the wing of the plane while it's flying. Wow, that's very adventurous. You would have to have very good balance to try that. You can hold out your arms to help you balance. Try walking on a line on the floor and holding your arms out like this. Well, that's our story about Bessie Coleman. It's craft time. Today we're going to make biplanes. I have this biplane that I made out of a paper towel tube, or if you have a toilet paper tube, you can make a smaller biplane like this one. We're going to use the paper towel tube today, and the first thing that you need to do is gather your materials. You'll need a paper towel tube, about 3 pieces of paper like this. You'll need scissors, and you need some tape. And you might want to have some different materials that decorate it, like crayons or markers. Now, the first thing you're going to need to do is to take your paper towel tube and tape your paper onto the paper towel tube. I like to put a little piece of tape on the top of the paper and on the bottom of the paper to tape it on like this. Now I've taped it onto the tube and I can just roll the tube around like this. And now it stays on the tube really well. I'm gonna put a piece of tape at the top and bottom just to keep it on there really nicely. There we go, pretty good. Now I'm going to need some wings for my airplane. So this is just the fuselage. You just need that paper again. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna fold your piece of paper in half one time, and then fold it one more time. That makes a pretty sturdy wing. You need 2 of these to make a biplane. We're gonna tape that wing right on to the fuselage of the plane. So you need to get your tape again, and then you're gonna tape one right on the top like this. And I like to put 2 pieces of tape on to make it pretty sturdy. How's that? Now we need another one for the bottom. And I'm gonna line it up with the first wing so that it's nice and straight. Let me get my tape. And we'll tape it right on like this. Great. It's already looking a lot more like a biplane. Now we need to, well, our wings are kind of falling down like this and they're a little bit floppy. On a real biplane, there have things in between called stays that help the wings to stay up. And so we're going to make our stays out of just a few little pieces of paper, just like this. There's a couple of them together and that'll make it nice and sturdy. I'm gonna fold the top and the bottom to make this shape. And that shape is going to be a good shape to hold our airplane up, wings up. So I'm gonna stick that right in between the wings like this. If I just tape that on now, that's gonna make it a lot more sturdy. You can experiment to see if you like these stays to be closer into the fuselage or further out towards the edge of the wing. I'm gonna put them kind of in the middle of my airplane. That's great. See how that holds up the wing? Now we need to have another one on the other side, and that will make the plane really sturdy. Now you can think about if you were going to stand on the wing, where would you stand? Oh my goodness, that's pretty exciting. You could stand on the top of the wing, or you could stand in between. If you were going to be a daredevil stunt pilot. Fly on a biplane. There we go. That's much more sturdy. You can play around with that a little bit and make it just the way you want it to look. Now we need a tail for the airplane, and I thought for a tail it would be fun to have a heart shape. I just cut out some heart shapes out of the piece of paper like this. So just fold over the paper and then you can cut out the heart shapes. I'll show you how you do that. Fold the paper. You actually need 2 heart shapes for this tail part, so you can get some help with this part. But I just cut that shape right out, and that's what I have. Now we tape that heart on the back of the airplane to make the tail. The airplane also has a part of the tail that sticks up. That's the rudder, and that helps to steer the plane. They're very important parts of the airplane. You can use another heart, but keep it folded up for that part. Just tape that on. I'm going to show you a trick that makes it stick up. If you put a piece of tape on one side of your heart and you stick it onto your airplane, it will be a little bit floppy. But if you take a piece of tape and you stick it on the other side of the airplane as well, now your rudder is going to stick straight up. Wait, is that the way we want it? Maybe the other way. Let me see. That looks good. What do you think? Now you can use your airplane to do all kinds of tricks. You can fly up and down, and you can do barrel rolls with your airplane, or loop the loops, woo, and be a daredevil stunt pilot, just like Bessie Coleman. I hope you have fun doing some crafts. Bye-bye.